Hey everyone, my name is the Theme Park Evangelist. Happy October 1st. I am back at my parents' condo here in Oak Brook, which is here in northern Kentucky, and that's as far as I'm going to go with that, as far as where I'm at. So, anyway, I am not only excited to say that I am officially a month and a half away, give or take, from my next vacation, which I haven't had one now here in 7-8 months. But next month I'm going to be staying in my first Hilton here in 3 years. Also, today I am going to be vlogging 2 different vlogs. So this is going to sound a little confusing to you guys, but I am going to be vlogging tomorrow's vlog, and I'm going to be filming it in future tense because of the fact that I'm going to be scheduling tomorrow's vlog to publish at 5 p.m. tomorrow. That way, I can go straight from work to home to shower and change and all that fun stuff, and then come back out here for community group, which is at 7 o'clock on Wednesdays. And then I have to turn around and then go back home to get up early again on Thursday, because I got to get up early again for work on Thursday as well. So, more or less, don't expect much out of me after tomorrow, which, of course, is going to be filmed in advance until Saturday. Now, tentatively, I could film on Friday, but we'll see what happens. I'm thinking about vlogging this new fried chicken place, but we'll see what happens. It might be a YouTube short or something, but either way, Saturday night I am going to be vlogging at Halloween Haunt for sure, as the weather is going to be getting better here again by this weekend. And then Sunday is going to be the Kentucky Wool Festival. However, though, due to a upcoming funeral that is going to be taking place Sunday evening and Monday morning, I am going to go out to the Kentucky Wool Festival earlier than anticipated, and that way I am back in northern Kentucky by Sunday evening and go straight from there to the funeral, if that makes any sense. So, well, it's really a visitation. The visitation is on Sunday, and the burial, and then the on Monday is the actual funeral, if that makes any sense to you guys. But, still, I would like to be back on time, so that way I don't miss any of that. And the visitation is from 5 to 7, but, I would like to be back between, or as early as possible, so that way I'm not missing out on anything. And then we can just go chill out at my parents' place afterwards while they're at community group. So, anyway, that is the game plan for this weekend. So, the last time I saw you guys in my College Days YouTube series, which is supposed to take place on Wednesdays, but things got a little thrown off because of the hurricane that not only affected northern Kentucky and Tennessee, but western North Carolina and Georgia and Florida. This was a very unusual hurricane. So I was forced to literally reschedule everything. Sunday I never even did a vlog. I actually ended up spending the afternoon with my parents and my mom and Katie, of course. So Sunday afternoon, I took my mom to Beringer Crawford Museum in Covington, Kentucky for her very first time, so I thought that was kind of a neat idea that we got to do that. So the last time I saw you guys in this YouTube series, I had talked about what it was like taking college level classes, and I briefly touched up on how much work it was to put into typing up these papers. But in today's topic, as you saw in the title, today I'm going to be discussing more on the lines of what it was, how difficult really it was to type these extensive papers for my professors. So to summarize everything, the title simply states, how much work was it to type a research paper for college? If that makes any sense, or that's what I'm going to come up with now while I'm vlogging. Usually while I'm not vlogging and I'm sitting there coming up with a title, I might come up with something different, or I might even just type that. I don't know. So let's go ahead and get started. So I had this one professor. She was really nice. She was very fair. She was really good about saying, my office hours are blah 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 to blah blah blah. I'm saying blah 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 because that's not what she said. Because like I don't remember what her office hours were. She was just saying like, you can come see me during this time frame, and if you have any questions, especially about the paper, now's the time to come see me. And she would give me pointers on how to improve the paper, and then I would take that opportunity when I was not around her to go see the free tutor. So Polk State College in Polk County, Florida, where I went to college most of my college career, and that my grandfather paid for, and then Publix did a Publix reimbursement program, tuition reimbursement program, that I signed up and qualified for, and then that paid for the rest of it. So I kind of went back and forth between the two, but primarily Publix. And I was like, well, I'm going to utilize these free sources and, these free tutors, so I'm going to go see them in between classes or after I'm done with classes for the day. And even though I could be home right now, I'm going to go ahead and take advantage of these free sources. So I go down there, and the tutors would spend quite a bit of time with me. They would show me, like, okay, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. And they would go over the entire paper with me extensively. They would mark anything that looked off, whether there was grammatical, spelling, you name it. And I would then take it home, and I would go back and fix everything. Now, this might seem like a huge waste, but I would go ahead and reprint it and come back to college with it, and I would get it fixed again. I felt so bad about how much paper and ink I was wasting on my dad's at the time, but honestly, compared to how much money I would have been wasting at Polk State College, it was still a lot cheaper. Let's just put it this way. One of those ink cartridges of my dad's that he uses probably costs him about $40 a month. However, though, to print up a paper at school probably would cost me maybe 40-50 cents a page. But that adds up because I was typing at least 5 to 10 pages. So let's just say 10 pages, for example. You were still looking at $3 a day. And, after a month, who knows how much you would spend. I mean, let's just look at a week, for example. 5 days, I was probably spending, if I had actually done it that way, about $15. And I could not afford that. There was no way that I could afford to spend $15 a week at college on stupid, paper and ink, when I knew I could do it at home for a whole lot cheaper. Like, yes, I was wasting a lot of my dad's ink and paper, and I was willing to reimburse him, but, in all fairness, it's cheaper still to do it at home than at school. And I told my dad that because he kept saying, don't they have this at school? I was like, yeah, but they force you to pay for it. And then, on top of that, they're cashless. So, and I don't know, I don't remember the whole reasoning behind it. I just remember they would have you load up money onto a card and then you would have to, pay for it each time. And, they would have these giant machines. And it was just so frustrating. I'm just like, there really should not be any reason for this. But yeah, I spent a month working on this one paper I came up with on my own. It was on photo enforced lights. So down in Central Florida specifically, photo enforced lights are really bad. I mean, Haines City, Florida, especially on US 27, there are 3 traffic lights that are all synced with each other. There's one next to a Manny's Original Chop House, my favorite barbecue restaurant in Florida, all the way up to a McDonald's. Technically, there's another one if you want to add on the one by the Lowe's that my dad unfortunately got pulled over or got hit by years ago. I'm not saying that he got hit there. I'm just saying that like nabbed him. But I'm just specifically naming just 3 in a row, all in sync with each other, and all 3 of them are photo enforced. And I know for sure that they're in sync with each other because I'll tell you right now, I have traveled down US 27 many, many, many times over the past several years. Even when I go down there to visit, I still go down that road every single year. And every single time, I notice those lights are in sync with each other. And it's very frustrating. And I'm just like, really? So I know for sure not to try to outrun those lights. But, people who are not from that area are not going to know that. They're going to think, oh, the light is just turning red. Let me try to outrun it. But I'll tell you right now, those lights don't stay yellow for very long. They turn red pretty quickly. And the second they turn red, the camera flashes. And if it flashes twice, they got you. And I did this research paper not just on traffic lights, or photo enforced lights, but like why they become a nuisance. And I thought I made a very good point. The professor absolutely loved my paper. She could tell I poured my heart into it, and she gave me an A for it. I was like, yes. But it wasn't an easy thing to do because I had to do a crap ton of research. On top of that, I had to go through many different sources. I had to source all of my information. And I'm not just saying MLA, which is the Modern Language Association, which almost everybody knows how to do that. I'm saying APA here, which is the American. You know what? That's something I'm gonna have to look up, but I can't do that right now because I don't have my phone with me. But look it up sometime. I'll look it up sometime. I'll tell you guys in the next one. Yeah, my phone is actually charging right now. In the kitchen. I haven't actually fully charged it yet, but anyway, APA ain't easy. I'll just tell you guys that right now. And I was like, whew. And, sometimes I wouldn't source it correctly, and the professor or the tutor was like, nope, gotta go back and fix it again. And you're just like, what am I doing wrong? And it was like so frustrating. It was like, I gotta go back over this again. Like, why shouldn't I have to do this? But you know what? I went back over it again and again and again until finally there was like almost no mistakes. And I'm like, okay, finally I can turn this in. When you know you have too many red marks on your paper, you know you're not doing something right. I had this one tutor I used to visit all the time. And of course, I had to get these tutor schedules because I needed to know when I could see them, when not to see them, and that way I knew when I needed to tell myself mentally, okay, David, you're gonna be with this tutor all afternoon into the evening on this particular day, or until they're done for the day, because I knew their schedules, because it wasn't just what days, but what time they were working. And I was like, okay, I know for sure on like Tuesdays and Thursdays, for example, I'm just throwing that out there, I was going to hang out at the college as long as it took. Whether it was raining, whether it was sunny out, it didn't matter. I was going to hang around and I was going to keep working with these guys. I was going to even drive all the way from Winter Haven back to Lake Wales if I needed to, just to come and work with these guys. I was going to miss out on playing video games just to work with these guys. And sometimes, if I absolutely had to, I would even spend my own money at the college. Like, okay, well, I really want to fix it right now. So what I would do is I hop on one of the computers there and I go ahead and I would fix it. And then if I really wanted to, I would go ahead and I would reprint it and have her go back over it again with me before I even took it home. And then sometimes something else I like to do was I would go ahead, I would fix it, and then, like right there on one of the computers, email it to myself, go home, print it, and then come back with the new paper. Like sometimes I just did extra driving because I was like 5 minutes away. I didn't care. The college was right there in downtown Lake Wales. My home was closer to Spook Hill, so it didn't really matter to me. I was like, it's fine. I'm not even 2 miles away. It's not the end of the world. I didn't do a lot of driving back then, other than going to Disney and Universal. Like my job was probably 10 miles away, 20 miles round trip. My school was only 2 miles away. When I was in high school, I was only doing 2 miles a day. I mean, everything was really close. Once I started working for Disney, then I started doing a lot more miles. Like, I am shocked how many more miles I'm having to go these days here in Kentucky than I was in Florida. Like, Florida, everything is close, but there's a lot more traffic. But here, there's not so much traffic, but everything's far apart. Something I've kind of learned. But it's here or there. But yeah, it was just one of those things that I had to put up with. And, that's just one paper. I mean, there were, other papers where I did the same thing. I worked with that professor for a good month. And sometimes, if I really didn't like the professor, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to talk to you. I'm just going to go through the tutor for an entire month. And then when I know for sure it looks good enough, I'm then going to turn it in and just pray and hope for the best. And there were some professors, I hate to say it, I had this one professor, I had spent a good month working on a paper for him, and it looked really good. I knew I had poured my heart into it. I turned it in. It should have been right by rights an A. And he took a glance at it. Like, I'm just going to use his mouse pad as an example. He literally does this. Threw it on the ground right in front of me. It would have made a lot more sense if that had been a piece of paper. And then he says to me, that's what I think about your paper. It's trash. I said, you just glanced at it. I didn't need to look at it. I could tell just by glancing at it was trash. And I said, well, that's just wrong. And he goes, well, your level is right here. My level is way up here. And I said, okay. And he says, you'll never, ever make it to my level. And I think to myself, well, dude, if you keep setting expectations that high and never telling us how to reach those expectations, of course nobody's ever going to make reach those expectations. Like, duh. Nobody ever liked that guy. I mean, that guy literally cussed me out one night in college. So, speaking of that same professor, I was in a interpersonal relationships class that he personally designed himself. It took him 30 years, give or take, to come up with the idea. And it was my very first night, and I had forgotten for like a split second. He had only just said something not even 5-10 minutes ago, but people are going to forget within 5-10 minutes. And, I had I just wanted to look at my phone for some reason. I don't know why. And I figured he's busy messing around with his VCR. He's not going to notice. And he noticed. He came over to me, more like stomped over to me, and he said under his breath to put my D-word phone away. This is a Christian G-rated YouTube channel. I'm not going to say it. And I was so mad at him, I stood up and I walked out. I was like, you ain't talking to me like that, dude. No. And I came back in near the end of the class, and he tried asking me, where did I go? And I just glared at him, and I walked right back out after I grabbed my crap and I left. Well, I'll tell you guys this right now. I got somebody's attention from that. So this young lady was in the same class with me, and she pulled me aside one night, and she told me she was really proud of me. She had heard every word he had said, and said that he had no business talking to me like that. I should have, by rights, gone to the advisor. I probably did, because I think that's why he came back and apologized to me. Plus the fact that I literally ditched him for the entire class and didn't say a word to him. So I think between that and going to the advisor on him, got him in trouble. I hated to be that immature about it, but I mean, come on, dude. I didn't want to go home because I didn't want my parents to go, aren't you supposed to be in class? And I'm like, yeah, but the professor was being a complete jerk. And my parents are going like, no, you need to go back to class. So, of course, because I was living with my parents at the time, what was I supposed to do? It's not like now where I can go hide at Katie's or go home to my roommate. So these days I wouldn't care, but, back then I didn't really have a choice. So I just like, I'm just going to stay here in the car. At least I had a car I can go hide in. I guess I could have driven to McDonald's or something, but I was like undecided whether I want to go back in or not. So I was like secretly hoping the professor would come outside and try to find me. So I decided to give him the benefit of the doubt by staying in the car and letting him come find me. But no, the professor thinks Dave is an adult. He can come find me if he wants to. So that's kind of how he felt. I'm just like, whatever. But this young lady apparently was a manager at KFC in Lake Wales. So for those of you who do not know, there used to be a KFC in Lake Wales, and for a long time it was a buffet. I used to go to that buffet for the longest time before they remodeled it and cleaned it up. And she says to me, hey, if you ever come by, your next meal's on me. And I was like, are you serious? And she goes, oh yeah, even the buffet, I don't care. I was like, so if you guys don't know me, I love food. I just went to CC's earlier today. I might have overdone it a little bit, but let's be honest, I'm a big guy. I like my food. And I go over to this buffet one day. I might have even been the same exact night as my college class, and she didn't even care. I don't remember what night it was. I just remember there was one night after college I went over there. She was working, and she was really happy to see me, and she gave me a free meal. And I took my time. I enjoyed myself, and I was just very thankful. I was really happy that somebody had done that for me. Somebody who just met me, too, for that matter. I was like, wow, this is amazing. But, you never know who you're going to meet in college. You just don't. And to think this was over a silly phone issue on the very first day of a brand new class, for that matter. And yes, this is the same professor that balled up the paper in front of me that I had spent a month working on. let me remind you about that. Thank God, most of my professors were not like that. And I'm not saying that for the sake of saying it. I mean that because, that's not right. It is not. And I mean, I had many professors over the years that really appreciated my papers. I'm very sure I had told that same professor, I turned in a paper to a professor, and she said to me that you're good enough to be an author. And he said, oh, you are far from that. I mean, the professor was just straight up, and I don't even want to say it. Use your imagination on that one. I'll just go with that one. So, needless to say, he did not like to be positive. It's like he was so passionate about this interpersonal relationships class. He was so positive about helping students out with their relationships. He even gave me permission to take my significant other at the time into this interpersonal relationships class, which I only did one time, by the way. And yet, for the sad thing is, he was nothing but rude to me. Even my girlfriend at the time didn't even like him. So it was actually 8 years ago today. I was dating this young lady named Jennifer, whatever you want to call her. Super sweet young lady. She kind of disrespected me, no lie. She also embarrassed me at bars. Yes, I was a bar hopper back then. And she did date me during college. And yes, she has been with me to college a couple of times. But the point is, she was not the right one for me. And that's another story for another time. Maybe sometime I'll do a YouTube series on why. Actually, that reminds me. Tomorrow, my next vlog is actually going to be why Katie is the right woman for me. And I may not be able to vlog it now, but I will before the end of the night. That at least I can promise you, because my dad should be here soon. So, I will go ahead and tell you guys now, just to expect my next vlog to be about why Katie is the right woman for me. Why God personally chose Katie to be the right woman for me. And I'm gonna get a little bit more personal about my past relationships in that one. So if you're kind of curious. And that one will go a little bit more into my past life as well. But in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys right now that, papers were only just a scratch on the surface about my college life. Actually, next week, this time for sure on Wednesday, I am going to be discussing, trying to think here. Hold that thought for now. Okay, I got an idea. It's an idea for now, but something that might be a little bit more different, just to give you guys a little bit of a break from hearing about my personal life. I'm going to talk next week about whether I like the Winter Haven campus better or the Lake Wales campus. Now, I mean, you're still hearing a little bit about my personal life, but now you're going to hear more about my taste, and you're going to hear about what the Lake Wales campus was like and what the Winter Haven campus was like. And you're going to find out which campus I liked better and why. And I figured, it's about college, and you guys have not necessarily heard for exactly what the campuses were like, what they looked like, all that fun stuff. So why not go ahead and talk about it? Now everybody's probably going to think, oh, David's got to like the Winter Haven campus because it's bigger, but that's not necessarily true. So let's talk more about that next week. In the meantime, I will see you guys in the next vlog later on tonight. And then I will see you guys on Saturday night at Kings Island. I promise you guys, this will be the best Halloween haunt vlog yet. Always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great day. Peace out.